Hello, everybody. It is me, 7th Hanuman. It's been a while since I did a live stream, and today is Christmas Eve. So I hope all of you out there are doing something that's happy and loving. Today's live stream is I want to share an item that is extremely helpful based on my personal experience. It helped me a lot, and I know it will help the TIs out there. And this item is not too expensive, and there's many different brands out there. You can find them in most department stores. In my videos, I've shown different objects that I accumulated in my gang stalking experience. In the gang stalking phenomenon that I experienced in battling the dumpster stain gang stalkers. For example, I've shown you guys the singing bowl, those bowls where you hit it and it creates a ringing sound, like a rippling type of vibration sound. I've shown you guys one video. I showed you guys my demon whistle, which was an air blower with whistles, customly placed, inlaid into the tube of the air blower. I also show you guys this alarm stick that was really loud. And those objects, they stressed out my gang stalkers every time. They don't like those objects, but I like them. And this object I'm going to show you guys today, it's very important. If you're a TI, it doesn't even matter if you're a TI or not, but I'm talking about TIs. If you have not realized, if you're a beginner TI or a new TI, you just found out about this, it all depends on where you are currently in your gang stalking journey or as a targeted individual. At some point, you're going to start to realize that your body is getting weaker. Like there are parts of your body where you feel like it's not the same as maybe a few years ago. And you have, well, for me, I noticed there was these changes. For instance, my hands. I noticed my hands were not as strong as before. When I say before, maybe like 4 years ago. And I started noticing, why is my hand, my grip, the grip that I have with my hand, it's not as strong as before. It doesn't make any sense because I drive a truck for a living. I work on a farm. So I use my hands a lot, but I don't get why the gripping power of my hand was getting weaker. And that's only one example. As a TI, you will notice that you're gonna start having these body pains, these different aches especially on your lower back, your upper shoulder by your neck, along your spine area. You might be leaning towards one side more than the other, or you might be start having these abdominal pains, certain sensations that feel like out of nowhere, it just comes in and it'll be like a pain, like a sharp pain on your obliques on the side of your stomach, or maybe it's on your legs, on your calves, um, ankles, where some of you might even feel like when you're standing, all of a sudden the right side of your leg, right where the ankles are, you're starting to have this feeling like it's cramping. It's like starting to hurt, like your whole leg is hurting. And the reason that happened, based on my experience, is because the dumpster stained gang stalkers were attacking me. And I know they are also attacking you. And the way they attack us is they'll pinpoint an area where the blood vessel will travel. So they'll pinpoint an area and they'll keep attacking that area for months and years. And it's so subtle, you wouldn't notice it until you start feeling the effect. And that's once you start feeling the effect of the attack after many years, that's when you, well, for me, that's when I actually want to do something about it. Start to massage the area, or sit in the hot tub, loosen up the blood vessel, massage the area, and start doing these countermeasures to try to minimize the damage and hopefully reverse some of the effects. So one thing I learned is the deep tissue massage is very important, because TIs, if you're just worrying about gang stalkers and people in public and your neighbors, that is your journey, and you're going to still need to go on your journey on your own. But and behind the scene, okay, you're receiving voice to skull and you're getting attacked physically. And when they attack you, it's very subtle. So subtle, if you really want to get a feeling of it, you would have to lie down on your bed and then relax your whole body. And then you can start sensing these strange pressure areas. Most likely your feet. You can feel like you try to relax your feet, but then something else is like grabbing onto your feet. It's like pulling your blood flow back to your feet and preventing you from completely relaxing your feet. It's like a battle of tug and pull of your blood flow. And you will only understand what I'm saying if you actually really want to just lie down and relax, completely relax your body, and try to feel your body. And it's going to take some practice. So this item that I want to show you guys, it helped me a lot, and I use it every day. And all TIs need this item, and they need this item on them, preferably on them or within reach. So maybe one in your home, one in your car. Have this item with you, and whenever you start feeling pain, like in your arm, your left arm, maybe your forearm, start having cramp whenever you want to lift an object, you use that item and then you work your forearm for a little bit. Okay, if you can do this every day, you can reverse the effect that these gang stalkers are doing to you. But it's going to take dedication to do it. Even I myself, I would go through phases where I kind of just forget about using it because I don't feel like a heavy attack from them, but they are still attacking me, but it's just not as heavy. And it kind of settle. And if I'm just busy with other things in life, I'll just forget about it. But when they attack me a little bit harder, I can start feeling it. That's when it triggers my mind. Be like, okay, I got to go get this item. And I'm going to show you what this item is. So give me a second. So this item is it's a massager, a handheld massager. And I'm showing you this brand, okay, Med Massager. It's because they sell them at Costco, and I bought two of these items, and they worked amazing and good quality. That's why I want to show you this. This is not thing to do with affiliate marketing, so I'm not trying to make a few bucks. I'm just showing you the website. So I'm going to click on Shop Massagers. So these first two items, this foot massager and this body massager, I bought one of each from Costco, and they work amazing. But it says $269 for this body massager, $279 for this foot massager. That's a lot of money for some people out there. So the item I want to focus on is this one right here, this AccuVibe Micro. This is the item I want to focus on. There is a larger one for $129, but let's just focus on this. This is all you need. This is micro one for $69. So this item here is what all TI needs. This item right here will help get rid of some of that pain that you have, because those dumpster stain gang stalkers are attacking you every single day, and you will need this to help your body reverse some of that effect. So for instance, if you have all of a sudden, you have cramps on the right side of your back, you just bust this thing out and just put it on your back and just massage the area for like 10 minutes, and you'll feel so much better. So imagine if you don't have this and you're getting attacked on your back every day. So over time, let's just say over 6 months, because how often do a person actually massage their own body? And most people don't do it. That's a fact. Most people don't have these type of massagers and sit there and massage, their body where there's soreness. So when your lower back is hurting, and after 6 months of just not doing anything about it, what happens there is become inflamed. So kind of like swollen looking. And that will actually restrict blood flow. That area will restrict your blood vessel. When your blood is flowing, when it gets to the area, it just slows down because it's restricted. And once it gets past that area, and then blood will start flowing again. But at that point, after the inflamed area, your blood flow drastically slows down, because that affected area, it's restricting proper blood flow. And that's how high blood pressure is built up over time, over many years, because on our body, we have all these different restrictions of blood flow. And whenever the blood try to travel through the restriction, it slows down. And just like a water hose, when you slow down the water flow, pressure gets backed up. But if you can clear the water hose, all of a sudden you see a burst of water, because that is the proper flow. And that's what we're trying to achieve here, is try to fix as much as possible with our blood vessel, so we have proper blood flow. And a lot of people out there, after 50 years of living, they have a bunch of different restriction on their body. And that's what causes high blood pressure, because the whole entire pressure system of the blood flow is just completely just being restricted everywhere it goes. So that's why I mentioned having a hot tub. Okay, a hot tub, if you can afford it, it's really good. Also, it's not just really good, it's a necessity. Also, a steam room, because the hot tub warms up your blood, warms up your body, and it helps the blood flow. So after you sit in the hot tub for about 30 minutes, you get out of the hot tub, you use one of these items right here, one of this massager, and start massaging those areas, because now your blood is warmed up, your body's warmed up, your blood is warmed up. You massage the area until you feel like, okay, I'm starting noticing the result. You start noticing that, oh, okay, this affected area here is actually getting less inflamed. And this will take a while. It will probably take, if you're dedicated, it will probably take months. But you'll feel so much better. And you're actually fixing yourself. So this will be great if you use it after sitting in a hot tub. But if you don't have a hot tub, that's fine. Take a super hot shower. Let your body warm up. Let the blood start flowing. Take a hot shower. And then after the hot shower, that's when you want to use this. So this is my advice to all TI out there. Every TI need this item. And right now, Costco have a holiday promotion. It's a different brand, okay? Not this brand. I like this company because they make really high quality massagers. Costco's got one of these mini for $39.99, and it's by Sharper Image. So $40 you can get one of these, and you should have it with you all the time. And it works on your head. You know how there are TIs I mentioned they'll have headaches? Well, same goes for me. But when I have headaches, what I do is I use this thing. I don't just put it straight on my forehead because the way it bounces off, it's not a proper way of doing it. So what I do is I use a towel. So I fold up the towel a few times, put the towel on my forehead. I'll lie down, put it on my forehead, put the towel on my forehead, and then I use this massager and put pressure on the towel. So the towel acts like a cushion, a padded cushion. The feeling, the sensation is a lot smoother. So when I have headaches, I'll put the towel over the area where I feel the headache, and I use this massager for a few minutes, like 2 minutes. And I feel better immediately. So for those TIs out there, when you're having headaches, try the method I just explained to you. And you're going to need one of these massagers. Otherwise, you can't do it. That's why this item is very important for all TIs. So definitely get this. This is going to be one of those items as part of your defensive arsenal. Okay, for me, my defensive arsenal is the singing bowl, the demon whistles, the alarm stick that I customly made myself, and this massager would consider one of my defensive arsenal. So you notice those items, you're gonna need those items because there's one thing about these dumpster stain gang stalkers. They're attacking you. You want them to stop, but before you get them to stop or figure out your own journey, you're gonna need some of these defensive items. So you can just imagine it's like your own armor. You're gonna need armor. And technically you do need armor because a lot of TIs, they would share their experience and they would talk about having foils, right? Wrap foils around your head as like part of the shielding against these radiation or whatever directed lasers. They have Faraday cage, right? Hoodies for their head. I mean, just a bunch of stuff, okay? Right now, I'm drawing a blank, but you know what I'm talking about. These different shielding items. Well, those shielding items, you can say they're technically armors. They're your armors. And for me, I have a jacket, a long coat. And I took it to my local tailor and I bought some of these aluminum mesh, okay, from Home Depot. Those screen mesh, but it's made out of aluminum. And I bought some of those. I took it to my tailor, and I actually had my tailor put the mesh inside my long coat. So in a way, it's like a shielding effect for me. So I got that custom made a few years ago. And sometimes I would wear it around here. But that was because I was getting heavy attack back then. Nowadays, the attack is not that heavy. That's because I also have a lot of, I understand the program more now, understand what's going on. I found out what these things are, and I've been talking a lot of shit to them. Try to teach you guys out there to talk shit to your dumpster stank gang stalkers. But I still haven't really got a feeling that the community actually understand what I'm talking about when you need to talk shit to your gang stalkers. Using your head inside your mind, because that is voice to skull. It goes two ways. They can direct conversation to you, or you can direct conversation back to them using your mind. That simple concept, a lot of TIs don't understand that concept, but it's really that simple. And the reason that a lot of TIs don't understand is because they feel when they want to talk shit using their mind, well, that requires energy. And the dumpster stank gang stalkers are absorbing your energy. You feel drained and you feel tired to even try to talk inside your mind. And that's that one hurdle you're going to have to overcome and realize that you do need to actually generate some energy in your mind to talk shit back to them. So it's like a battle of your focus and your energy. But I'm kind of going off topic, but I just want to show you guys this item here. This item, it's something you need. See like this photo right here. See how this guy's using it? This is a perfect example. That's exactly how you want to use it. Now, right here with the L of his arm, right here, where this point right here, this the L where the joint is, where his elbow. I don't know if you can see the cursor, but so right here, I noticed my dumpster stank gang stalkers, they would attack this area of the blood vessel. Because one thing is we bend our arms a lot. When we bend our arms, or if you sleep on your arm, you don't sleep in a proper position and you're kind of sleeping like bending your arm, or you put your hand next to your head. So you use your hand and arm act like a pillow. That is the worst way to sleep, because the entire night you're getting attacked by your dumpster stank gang stalkers. And over time, I'm not talking about just one night, but over months and months of accumulating hours and hours of sleeping that way, you're gonna start building these knots, okay? It's like a bump on your blood vessel. It's like a restriction. And whenever the blood try to flow to your hand, it's gonna reach the area, it's gonna slow down. And then your hand is not gonna feel as strong as what it used to feel like. So you're gonna need to do something about it. And this thing, like acupressure, where you can deep tissue massage that area. And if you ever been to an acupuncture service place or gotten acupressure, what they do is they'll massage this affected area to warm up the area. So you got to warm up the area, and then they'll attack that blood vessel, and they'll keep massaging it downwards, upwards, just making your blood, try to make your blood flow through the bump and try to force that bump out, kind of clear the bump. And that's why sitting in the hot tub's good, because the hot tub will warm up your body. And then after the hot tub, you use this massager. It's effortless almost. You just basically put your hand, you hold on to the massager, and you put the massager on the area and just wait. And it feels good. So that can help you till the rest of your life, basically. You should do this till the day you die. See, like this person right here sitting in an office, okay? If you're working and you have to be bending your elbow like this, yeah, those dumpster stank gang stalkers going to attack this area, and you will feel it. Especially if you're young, you probably won't feel anything because it's not really affecting you, but over the years, you're going to start noticing it. So even if you're not a TI and you don't believe in this stuff, that's fine, but just Even if you're not TI, you are still gonna feel something, and this device will help you. But just based on my personal experience, now that I realize what's going on, now I realize that it's the dumpster stain gang stalkers that's doing this. And I have made mention everyone in this world is a TI. Everybody. And the true TIs are the ones that are aware something's going on. Which is gang stalking. But gang stalking is only a modern day phrase. The experience itself dates back to the Bible. Now, with me saying dates back to the Bible, what does that mean? Well, alien, maybe? I mean, you think about it. What does it mean by me talking about, oh, it's date back to the Bible? Where do aliens come from? From the sky? Or maybe these aliens been here the entire time. So yeah, here you go. Put one in your car. If you have the money, get two of these. Put one in your house. Put one in your car. Great gifts. Get extra for your friends and family if you got the money. But everybody needs one of these, and all TI get one of these. So I don't know if you guys want to ask any questions, but so basically this is a live stream. I just want to show you guys the item. I'm going to take a break, so I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Feel free to ask questions or make comments or join in on my live stream. So I'm going to post the link. Okay, I will be back in 5 minutes. Okay, guys, I want to show you a video, and for those of you that have been following my channel for a while, I'm actually accumulating information on this research of this phenomenon. And I've been telling you guys since the beginning that I know whom these gang stalkers are. And until this day, no one in the community even come close to what I understand are the real gang stalkers. And I'm confident that once I show you the very last video in my Truth of Gang Stalking series, I'm confident that I will turn on that light bulb in your head. And the information is not only for the TI community. The information is what the world's been looking for. And I know it sounds, well, to me, when I say it, it sounds like it's such a tall task. But even before I started my YouTube channel, I was given an assignment, okay? And when I say given an assignment, it's not an assignment by no government agency, okay? It was an assignment through something that I will say the best I can explain it is divine intervention. And what I mean by divine intervention was I was going through gang stalking and I was receiving voice to skull, and I was extremely irritated. I was upset. That was around the same time I was going through law enforcement problems, like getting taken in for the involuntary 72 hours evaluation, and even that time when I was taken in, I was the one. No, my girlfriend was the one that called the sheriff because I thought my neighbors were outside on the other side of my fence and on my property. And with what I was going through that period in time, I was just extremely irritated and frustrated and pissed off. And I just want all this to stop. So one day I grabbed one of my this one, it's like a dish, but I use it like a basically something to make noise out of. So I keep beating the shit out of this tray, this dish, making all kinds of noise. I just kept beating it. And as I'm beating it, I was screaming out a bunch of random stuff. Like it's almost like a trance, like one of those Native American rituals, kind of like, or African tribal stuff where they do the dance, but they have to do these like chants, So I was keep beating the crap out of this dish, and I was just yelling out a bunch of mumbo jumbo stuff that didn't make no sense. And I was yelling at the top of my lungs. And I did this for about 10 minutes. And I switched over to one of my singing bowls. Okay, I have many singing bowls. In the last few years, I accumulated at least 4 or 5 singing bowls. I get them from thrift stores, like Wills and Salvation Army. So I would beat the shit out of the singing bowl, and it was loud. Okay, I would beat it really hard, just keep hitting it. And as I'm hitting it, I was screaming out mumbo jumbo. And all of a sudden, after about 10, 15 minutes of doing this, I went outside too. I actually went outside into my backyard and I was doing this. Because at that moment, I just didn't care. These dumpster stain gang stalkers, I was just so pissed off at them. I just tired of hearing them through voice to skull. So I wanted to make more noise because I feel like it bothers them. And I was pounding on this bowl and keep screaming out. And after about 15 minutes, the best way for me to describe it is a divine intervention where I feel like where a divine entity came into my body. I know it sounds out of this world if you don't have that culture background, or you don't understand, or you don't believe in spirits and stuff like that. But that's the best way I can explain it because, and let me tell you why. In college, I have my share of partying. I party a lot. I go to nightclubs. I drink a lot of alcohol. I mean, I went to raves. I've done my share of college experience. In high school, college, like experimenting, different types of drugs or whatever, just what college kids would do, right? People in college would do when they party. So I would say I know the feeling when I'm feeling high, and I would know the feeling when I'm feeling sick. So that's a fair statement. I mean, there's people can understand when they're feeling sick, but not everyone can understand when they're feeling high, or what type of high, or how high, or it's a good high or a bad high. So I feel like I know my stuff enough. So I'm telling you guys, when I felt that something, a divine entity enter into my body, all that stress was gone. I was no longer scared of the gang stalkers. But the strangest thing was, I was talking in a different tone of voice. I was talking in a more like a feminine type of voice. And the strange things was, I was also throwing my hands like a feminine, like curling my hand, my fingers. It's kind of like, it's hard to explain, but I was just talking like that, talking in response to the voice to skull attack. And that's also the time when I was noticing the things I say was very wise. It was short, but very powerful. Like the answers that I was saying was very short, maybe just one or two words, kind of like those very powerful type of quote, you know what I mean? Like one of those riddle type of thing. But I was talking that way in direct response to the voice to skull, all those verbal abuse I was getting. So it's like I became like this person that was talking feminine. I was walking kind of feminine too. I noticed like it's almost like I'm watching myself behaving like a woman, but the feeling was no more stress. No stress. Like I was not scared no more. And then I shout out that I am Hanuman and that I'm going to win. And I also mentioned that go slow, talk, don't. The way to win is don't think and don't talk and go slow. So at that time, I have no idea what that means. Don't think and don't talk. But now, after all these years, I realize what's going on. Don't think, meaning all TIs, okay, based on my experience, because just from personal experience, my mind was thinking a lot of random stuff. And that's how they take away my focus. Once I start slowing down my thinking, that's when I started realizing a lot of these thoughts were actually coming from the lower voice to skull. So they weren't even my own thoughts, especially those negative thoughts. So that's how the don't think part worked. And the don't talk part is a lot of times these lower voices go when it comes in, it's making me talk. So it's like they're controlling me talking. But now when I actually don't talk, my dumpster stain gang stalkers get irritated. They actually want to control me talking. And this takes practice. So the don't think part, you slow down your thoughts, you're going to start realizing that a lot of your thoughts are actually coming in through the lower voice of the skull. And when your dumpster stain gang stalkers try to irritate you and you do not let them irritate you, and you try to be calm and don't talk about anything, don't talk trash, because there's a lot of TIs out there, they just keep talking. That's because they're irritated, they're pissed off. But that's exactly what the dumpster stain gang stalkers want. So when you can calm yourself and you don't just shout out things all the time, that irritates the dumpster stain gang stalkers because they're losing their power in controlling you. And the go slow part, that is very important. Our mind goes too fast. And it's hard to stay focused when you're going so fast. And that's what the major battle with this world is nowadays, is focus. Because all these TVs, all these apps, or cell phone, and they don't teach people how to stay focused in school. So going so fast, no focus, it's exactly what the dumpster stain gang stalkers want. And till this day, it's still something I need to get better. Because if you try to figure out your own gang stalking experience, and you might have an idea, but then within a few minutes, your mind just jumps to somewhere else. So now you just kind of forgotten about your previous idea, or you didn't forget it, but you just stopped. You didn't put in much work into making it happen. It's like well, based on my experience, I have all these ideas in the past of what to do. But I realize I need to focus on just one of those tasks and then actually start working on that task from start to end and get the task complete. But the dumpster stain gang stalkers will try to take away my focus along the way and try to make me abandon the task and start something else. And this is true for the TI community. If you want to be honest about it, I know all of you out there, you have your own method of minimizing the gang stalking, but then you're also having new ideas, but then you don't fully dedicate to those new ideas or experimenting those new ideas. So we all have problems with this, even for me. Now, so back to my story, how I felt like this divine entity came into my body and I lost all fear of the gang stalkers, okay, from their voice to skull. And I said, respond to the voice to skull saying, I am Hanuman, and I'm here to, and I'm gonna win. And it's don't think, don't talk, and go slow. And I know when I was saying it out loud, I felt that it was something else that's making me say those things. But I was okay with saying it because it just felt natural. And there was no fear, there was nothing forceful, there was nothing uncomfortable. It was just like a force that came into my body. I can just feel it. It's not like I completely lost control where I was being I guess manipulated 100%, but I definitely felt this presence was next to me, was really just here with me. And then later on that evening, okay. Oh, and then the entity later on made me say, "Oh, I'm gonna go now, but I'll be back." And it gave me the assignment to learn, to understand what's going on and to educate people. And then it told me, oh, it's got to go now, but it'll come back when the time's right. But even after that, I was like, what the heck just happened? Because I didn't feel like it left my body or whatever. But then I also feel relaxed. I feel comfortable. Like I feel like the V2K all of a sudden just not like before. And I felt euphoric. And it was a strange type of euphoric. I would say it was very alert. I was very alert, very aware. I felt good. It was very euphoric, but not like a horny euphoric. It wasn't like a horny type of euphoric like on ecstasy. It was like just euphoric, like a mental euphoric. It just feels, it's hard to explain. It's something I never felt before. And I have experience, partying. So I know these type of different high. And this was a clean high. It was the cleanest high ever. My mind was sharp. I was aware. I was alert. I feel like my eyes I can see things in high definition. And then later on that evening, because afterwards the conversation through voice to skull kind of became more civilized a little bit. And in the car, okay, just one thing that I also said was to help society. Okay, that's to help society. That's also another thing I also said. And later on that evening, I was sitting in the car and I was thinking, I was heading out to the store. Okay, I was sitting in my car and I was thinking about it. I was like, who am I to change society? I don't get it. Like I'm just an average person. I don't know anything. What is like change society? How does that even work? Like I'm going through gang stalking. I'm getting V2K every single day. And I already got taken in for the 72-hour involuntary evaluation. I mean, I lost all my firearms because, well, I didn't lose it. I sold them, but they were going to take them away, but I got to sell them instead. So all this stuff happened to me. And I still somewhat believe that my neighbors were also the one that were spying on me. So all those problems were still there. But it's just that evening after that incident earlier, I don't feel any fear anymore. And that's the start of the entire no fear mentality that I always talk about. So maybe that, helped me, that experience helped me. But in the car, I was asking myself, how am I going to help society? How can I change society? I don't know anything. Like, I don't have any special skills. Who am I to change society? So it's a big question mark. And now, years later, now I know. I'm confident and I know the information I know will change the entire TI community. And the information is exactly what the world's been looking for. And I will show you guys in April. This coming April, you will know exactly what these gang stalkers really are. If I want to pick one word, aliens. That's why I said the gang stalkers controls this world. Everybody's a TI. The gang stalkers manipulates everyone's mind. But the true TIs, you and I, are the ones that are aware of their existence. Well, aware of what's going on, but then they're still fooling us, majority of us, into all different directions. Government, neighbors, secret society, occult, billionaires, those 13 bloodlines, those world bloodlines, Freemasons. Just the list goes on and on. You know what I'm talking about. Except that by chance, I stumble upon their real identity. And I will show you guys. The next day, okay, I went to work. The next day I went to work, my behavior, it's like the after effect from the previous day where I was kind of like talking like a woman and walking like a woman. That effect was still kind of lingering there. Okay, I go to work early. And in the morning when I was working, other people, okay, other businesses, you know, their manager, whatever, because I communicate with them, they started noticing something was wrong with me. And then they call my boss. And they asked if, basically they told my boss that what's going on, that I was acting kind of weird. And my boss was calling me that day, asking me if I'm okay. And I told my boss, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, everything's fine. I'm about to do what I need to do. So my boss just sounded kind of like nonchalant and it was asking me if I was okay. And then called me a few times. Okay. One of the times my boss called me and asked if I need someone to come out there and actually take over for me. And I was like, no, why do I need someone to take over for me? I had no idea what was happening, but my boss was calling me to ask me if I was okay. So I finished the day, and it was only months later on in a conversation with my boss. That's when my boss brought up that incident. Only then I knew that, oh, so those people those managers at the store were the one that called my boss and told my boss what was wrong with me that day, because they've never seen me behave that way before. And that's how I connected the dot that, oh, so that's why my boss was calling me and asking if I was okay. So this is the morning after that incident. So that lingering effect lasted about a day. And once it was gone, I was behaving completely differently. I was talking shit, using voice to skull back to my gang stalkers. I told them that I am the enforcer. And I meant that. And I started doing things that even they are so shocked. They said things to me like they've never been disrespected like this before and made fun of like this before. And that's why I just done so many different things because I understand the no fear mentality now. And was it because maybe I had that divine intervention where I feel like an entity just came onto my body and completely took the fear away? Yeah, I would say I have a lot to do with that. And also, it told me that I am Hanuman. I got spirit of Hanuman. So if you don't know who Hanuman is, you guys can do a Google search. But that alone, I feel like I was empowered. And I feel like there's a purpose in all of this. In the TI community, the TIs are special, but it's just a lot of the TIs are just going through their own journey. And along the way, information gets thrown around and it gets confusing. But I will clear that up for all of you. I will show you guys. And you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. And what's going to happen afterwards? Well, what's going to happen afterwards is, for those of you that believe me, will believe me and will most likely want to get together or have some type of something going on where we can spread the message. Or some of you might just believe me and want to have your own journey to educate other people. Because knowing the information, I'll tell you this, it's going to trigger new ideas in your head. It's going to make new connection in your head that are different from mine. So you're going to have new perspective. Each one of you is going to have new ideas. And based off of those, you guys are going to have your own journey, a new journey moving forward. So some of you might feel like, oh, you need to go educate other people. Some of you might feel like you want to research more into it and then go from there. Some of you might feel like you want to write books. Some of you might want to feel like doing something together and get together and actually really spread the message, or who knows what's going to happen, but the information is going to elevate you. You're going to actually elevate your spirit. So you're going to have new ideas that I don't know what they are, but you can share them. Let me know. That'd be great. So everyone's going to go on that direction. It's going to be a completely new journey from that moment on. While there will be some TIs that just don't believe the information, even though I put it out there like as convincing as possible. Well, those TIs, it doesn't mean they're lost cause. It's just every TI's got their own journey, and the journey is not the same. So those TIs, maybe they'll come around, but a percentage of those TIs will also actually go to the dark side. Because once I share the information, I'm giving you an awareness and also making you finally feel and understand why I say TIs are special. So it's like you actually have an advantage over other people, especially if you're TI now and you understand voice to skull. If you're actually in communication through voice to skull, you're actually in communication with aliens. That's the bottom line. And all TIs, every human on Earth is receiving it, but not every human on Earth are aware of it. So the true TIs are aware of it, but not every TIs are aware of it and gotten to the point of receiving voice to skull. And when those TIs are receiving voice to skull, not every one of them can handle it. And that's why I made a video talking about your journey and your passage. And the voice to skull, it's the major, it's a passage that you have to go through. And then eventually leads you into figuring out the lower voice to skull. And once you realize the lower voice to skull, that's when you can start becoming more of yourself in your decision, because they'll send you ideas and decisions, recommendations. And that's when you're going to actually really be the one that's deciding you want to go this way or that way. So for those, once I release the information, there will be a percentage of TIs that will go to the dark side because they will be fooled into believing that they will get those things from the dumpster stain gang stalkers. Just like I talk about those magicians. Those magicians with some of those tricks, they depend on these entities. Okay, they're in the physical. But if a magician depend on those entities helping the magician to get famous, well, technically, if the entity don't want to help the magician got no trick. So if the magician is really stuck in staying popular, staying famous, and the entity don't want to help the magician, then the magician could either stop and just go find a new job or figure a different way to go around it. Like David Blaine, how he just does stunts now. He doesn't really do magic, those crazy magic tricks. He just does more like stunts. Or the magician can do whatever this entity tells the magician to do. So it's the dark side. It goes many different directions. Or some TI might even believe that it can do something like a sorcerer can do, or feel so powerful that it can commit crime and get away. Because these dumpster stain gang stalkers, they have the ability to get in everyone's mind. And that's why a lot of TIs, they feel like their family, their cousin, their friends, everyone's against the TIs because those dumpster stain gang stalkers of yours is already on all their heads, on their minds. They can make them say things to you that you don't want them to say to you, and then gets you frustrated. So these dumpster stain gang stalkers will manipulate the TI's mind by playing the good guy and the bad guy. So once I release the information, I already know there's going to be a potential TI out there. It's going to go to the dark side. And it is what it is. It's not possible to completely prevent that from happening. And that's where the balance comes in, the yin and the yang. That will happen in this universe. Light and dark, good versus evil. It will happen. You can't just stop one. So that's natural. Because for the longest time, I tried to think, what can I do to help prevent the TI from falling into the dark side? Because if you watch my video, you know I try to preach, be positive and be more good than negative. So, and I realized that I can't help every TI out there, and not every TI is going to feel the same or believe in the same thing. So some TI will just naturally feel more empowered to go to the negative side, the dark side. And now that they realize that whom these gang stalkers are, after I show them, new ideas will start coming in. Because now that curtain is gone. It's like your dumpster stain gang stalkers was able to hide behind a curtain and prevented you from finding out who they are. But now that you know, it's like, who knows what's going to happen next for you? Who knows what kind of things they're going to say to you using voice to skull? Who knows what kind of scheme they're going to have for you? But one thing you have to understand is don't ever let them fool you into believing you can think of a way to trick them, because you can't trick them. They already know your thoughts. The only way to really mess with them is by natural occurrence. For instance, what I mean by natural occurrence is, if I like to carry a lot of change, I like keeping change. So at any given moment, if I put my hand in my pocket, I can grab a handful of change. Grabbing that handful of change is something that they can't predict, because that is the most random thing one of the random things that I can do. Does that make any sense? But if I try to trick them and try to think, okay, what about if I only grab a handful of these smaller pennies and dimes and no quarters? Like if I go through that sequence in my head, they actually already know. And that's not even my own sequence. I'm starting to believe that is actually another entity's making me believe it's my own thought, but it's through the sequence and making me think into it. Now, is there any harm into thinking that way? I guess not that harmful at all. But I could be fooled into believing that was actually my own thought, into thinking that way. So don't ever believe you can actually fool these gang stalkers. They already know what you're thinking about. So it goes back to what I said earlier. Don't think. When you don't think, they don't know what you're thinking about. They don't know if you actually what you're really going through in your head. If you can stay calm and peaceful, that's like something to them is something they're not familiar with, and they can't control you. You see what I'm saying? And then that's when you can also recognize that these ideas were coming from another source. Well, there's a lot of comments. I'm going to go look at them. I kind of went off topic for a while, but so basically that's my experience of what happened to me. And from that moment on, I have no fear of these gang stalkers. And I was starting to talk shit to them, and the tables turned after that day. Okay, why don't you donate to me? I'm a real TI with irrefutable evidence. I've only gotten one single donation this week. Yeah, if I have more money, I would donate to you. I have no problem with that. I need cash for weed, food, and gas. Unable to work due to targeting, donate, or you're a perp. Simple as that. Okay, that's your opinion. And my phone bill is due. Yeah, well, we all got phone bills. Well, not all, but I got phone bills too. I know it sucks, huh? My phone bill is actually very high. My cellular bill, and I need to go and talk to them. I need to call them and see if there's any new plans or what's going on with that. It's dangerous for me to be out in public without active cellular service since I can't go live unless I'm connected to Wi Fi. If you can't donate, please at least spread the word. Okay, I just did. Acting like he doesn't see my comments, whatever. Peace, perp. Well, I was talking the whole time. I wasn't paying attention to your comment. Not on purpose, not purposely doing that, but I wasn't even looking at the comment section. By the way, I don't know anyone in China, but I got an odd voicemail a couple of weeks ago from a Chinese woman who sounded angry. No way, this was a mistake. Well, okay, just don't let it bother you. I mean, did she call you again and again and again? I mean, don't let it bother you. Maybe just someone try to scam you. It's quite popular now. My intuition tells me you have something to do with this. How do you sleep at night doing what you do? I document everything. If you think you're getting away with this, you are laughable. Well, your intuition comes from your dumpster stain gang stalkers, and they are dumpster stain. I'm calling them out. I think voices go are actually demon possessed people. Um, well, for TIs, okay, for TI, for true TIs, their experience of voice to skull is it is evil. Okay, there's a lot of verbal abuse, so it's an evil experience for TIs. Because I'll tell you this: a person that's receiving voice to skull and it's a peaceful experience, that person will not go research into finding gang stalking. Notice the difference. So a person receiving peaceful voice to skull communication will believe that it's hearing voices from God, from the divine and their spiritual guide in a very positive and good way. A person that's receiving voice to skull and it's all just verbal abuse and try to demanding and wants to control the person, tell the person what to do, that experience will lead the person into researching and finding the modern day gang stalking and will see it as evil and in another way, like where you said demonic possession. That's correlation with that. And just to be just to be cleared, to me, a demon is a personality type that is like a bully. That's what I call a demon. Like to me, a demon, okay, I know based on what I know now, a demon is not like a hideous monster you see in depiction in ancient books. Those hideous images, from the artist, how they draw a monster. When they draw a monster, that image is feed to them by these entities. Does that make sense? So what I said there was a TI. If you're getting voice to skull, you can also recognize that they also send you thoughts and images. Okay, more advanced TI. The advanced TI will understand this. So they send you images. Now imagine an artist drawing something, and those creative images of a monster, okay, like a demon, That's an image sent to these dumpster staying gang stalkers. And throughout history, throughout time, people would start associating demons in their mind with the depiction of what they normally see. But I'll tell you, these dumpster staying gang stalkers, they're not ugly like that. They're not. Very deceptive. But I hope that answered your question. I've been, it's been almost 4 years of being overtly targeted, and the full weight of it all has really hit home this holiday season. My heart is super heavy, but giving up is never an option. Yeah, you don't want to give up. And if this is Tony, I gotta tell you, I noticed a lot of your problems is you're making it dramatic. You're over dramatizing your situation. And a lot of the things that's going on in your videos, you get extra pissed over things that you shouldn't get actually over pissed over, I guess. Sorry if that make any sense. Um, you let things bother you. And it seems like you want revenge when those things happens. It's like you're not happy unless you get even. Like you want to get even on those situations. And then if you can't get even in those situations, you get frustrated, and it's throughout the years of building up on you, and you now just pissed off. And I don't know how you can actually change your mentality with that. The only option I have that I can think of for you is to take a vacation, go away, go camping by yourself, or go away from people or something. But it's harder. It's easier said than done. I know. But you're going to have to find a way to convince yourself to just relax. Because all these years, you're still here. And you're still buying into that same idea of what's going on. And you don't want to believe in other TIs. Like, well, I don't know how much you believe in the stuff I say, but I know based on your comments, there's a lot of stuff that I'm teaching other TIs that you disagree, and that's why you call me a perp and a fake. But I hope I can win you back over time. Dude, for real, I know that I never get donations. Neither does Virginia or Scott or anyone I know, and they don't ask to, or beg for them either. Grow some weed to solve your problems, man. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ways to make money. I agree. And I mean, if it works for Tony, then I guess it works for him. But yeah, there's many ways to make money. But I just don't let that bother you. I don't celebrate holidays, even if I wanted to. I have no money to waste. You think that you're the only one? Yeah, a lot of people are going through a hard time right now. I think the economy is worse than what they've been saying, in the news. Because when I go outside, I don't see anyone out on the streets. I walk into Walmart, there's no one in there. So I don't even know how some of these stores stay in business. I really don't get it. Are they really getting that much in online sales? I don't know. But I think it's actually getting worse. Slowly, it's getting worse. And just based on what I can see when I go out, because I drive a truck, I actually, I'm out there. And ever since COVID, it's just not the same. Especially in the city, it's people don't walk on the street no more. It's just very empty. So where do all those people go? And the stores are empty. So how are they staying in business? And I don't believe that all those people start buying online. So something is going on, and it is happening. And I don't like to talk about these things that I don't really know, but I feel like that's what have something to do also with the real ID. I just, in my mind, okay, based on what these dumpster stain gang stalkers, told me with ideas, that the real ID is important because when they want to screen people in a long line, they don't want to BS. They just want to know if you have the real ID, you go to one side. You don't have the real ID, you go to the other side. And you can confirm later. So that's just how they're going to screen people, like real ID, this side, no real ID. Okay, you can confirm later, go to that side. That's how I see it with the real ID, because I don't really know why do they have to make it a purpose to get real ID. I don't acknowledge perps. It makes me sick, and I don't even know you. No wonder Nerve is getting on you. He's right about a few things. Hanuman is a paid agent and has been a part of my harassment since early this year. See, now this is just nonsense, because you have to realize this statement you made, you have no proof of it. And that is part of the state of trance that you're in. You're in a state of trance. That's why you would make a statement like this. I'm not a paid agent. For 2 years, I've been making videos trying to help TI, the TI community. And how am I harassing you this entire year? I don't get it. How? I don't. How am I harassing you? I don't get it. Where do you come to that conclusion? Well, your dumpster stain gang stalkers send you thoughts, negative thoughts and ideas, and you bought into it. Because I don't see how there's any possible way. Okay, just try to convince me. Give me one good reason. How am I harassing you this year? I want to know how. I want to know what they've been sending thoughts into your mind, so I can learn from that as well. He's acting like he doesn't know who I am. Typical COINTELPRO. I don't get it. What do you mean acting like I don't know who you are? I don't get it. Why? What is it that you know that I don't know about yourself, that I am trying to find out? I'm not trying to find out anything about you. I'm just sharing my experience about gang stalking and what I know, and try to help the TI community. I'm not here to try to. I'm not making this stream for you, like purposely for you to hurt you. I hope this stream will help you, but I'm not here to harass you by making this stream. I'm sure you are probably targeted, Tony. And no, I don't know you or watch your channel. Tony has lost his mind. I don't even watch my own channel. That's not Tony. Okay. That's so Tony. Donovan is an evil, bad man. Just watch these characters. They're fake. That's a dumb sock account. Probably one of Will or TI News. There's no TI community. There's so much infighting and division amongst TIs. Well, there are good TIs out there. There are TIs that are serious and very nice. You just have to find them. And but you're right though. The community is getting a lot more of these problem makers. Okay, people just want to create problems and divisions. So it's going to require digging into the history and see and kind of get an idea of who's who, which is making us become more selective now. That's all it is. Become more selective. It really is screening out who are who. Look, I know Will has a bunch of sock accounts, but so do the rest of you. And as for saying he isn't a TI, whether he is or not is beside the point, that he has spent his own money to help. Well, I can't confirm any of that, but I have no problem against TI News. And I hope he doesn't have any problem with me. It's all by design, though. Classic divide and conquer. There's way too many fake TI perps and agents that have inf- infiltrated the TI community. Yeah, true. Will is a perp. Uh, According to Herbert, I don't have any sock accounts. And yes, I have to use different accounts because you all block my main. You're a demon, Donovan. Plant Tony, 85. I caught you again making fake accounts. Nobody pays attention to you, Donovan. Haven't you noticed that by now? Your word holds no weight. Well, this is very fascinating how the people are talking in the comment section. Um, just a bunch of arguing. Racial slurs, stereotyping, fake accounts. You are clearly planted on social media to dissuade real TIs from talking about their targeting and spread disinformation to confuse TIs. You talking about? You talking about me? Well, if you don't like my information, I mean, if they don't make any sense or you don't feel like they make sense, then you're just you're just not there on your journey. I mean, you're still going. You are on your own journey. Every TI is on their own journey, and some will get stuck, and some will overcome. The part that they're stuck, while others will just never really move forward in their journey. So, I mean, I don't know why you think it's more important to spend your energy on making false claim with no evidence about me, other than the fact that you are stuck in your journey and you need to figure out that you're receiving voice to skull as soon as possible. I'll tell you, if you're targeted, Tony, I'll tell you what's one voice to skull you're getting. I already know by watching one of your video. It's the video when you had your window open, okay, in your room, and your camera's pointing towards the window, and you claiming that your neighbors are doing some type of a noise campaign outside. Well, I'll tell you this: that noise campaign, they're from the gang stalkers, which are these entities, and it's not from your neighbor. You were receiving voice to skull. But the difference is this is a environmental voice to skull, okay? So other people, if they were in your room, they could hear that noise, but in their mind, they would interpret the noise differently. Okay, a little bit differently. Some would be really more obvious where all of you agree on hearing the same thing, while some will just interpret a little differently amongst you. So that type of environmental voice to skull is not the same as hearing it literally next to your head. Okay, hearing next to your head, you're probably the only one that can hear it, and no one else around you can hear it. But the environmental stuff, people near you they can hear it, but they might slightly interpret it differently. And that's how you can pick it up in the audio too, in your recording. Because when I hear that through your video, I can pick it. I already recognize it. I already know. And what I heard was them talking shit. Okay, they were talking shit. But I don't know if you heard it through your perspective. You might just hear a bunch of noise, and yet you didn't pick up the actual verbal talking shit part. But for me, I picked that up. And when I rewind your video and play back, it's actually the same thing. So it's captured in your recording. It's not positive. So how can anything change when everyone breathes negative all the time? Yeah, that's true. And that's because the TIs they're frustrated. And most TIs are just frustrated, and that's really what it is. They're being controlled they're losing the battle, and they're overwhelmingly receiving negative thoughts from their dumb gang stalkers. And that's where that being at peace really comes in play, and being calm. When they attack me and I try to stay calm, okay, they don't really talk shit like before, because I talk shit to them. I really talk shit. I record it in my audio. I'll play it in low volume. So they really hate that. Okay. So the talking shit part is not like the beginning now. And what they do is they will try to attack me physically a lot more. Like they'll try to attack one part of my body, and it frustrate me. So I would have to like stop whatever I'm doing and grab that massager and massage part of my body, try to get rid of it, like basically taking my focus. It's part of a way to take away my focus in whatever I was doing. So by doing so, I'm able to stay at peace. And even though it bothers me, it's like annoying, but at least I'm more at peace, when I'm dealing with it. So if I don't have the massager to massage the part of my body, and don't have my audio to minimize your shit talking, if I don't those two things, as a TI, without those two things, okay, that TI will be more vulnerable, and they'll be still stuck in the shit talking part, because they haven't realized they need their audio to play in the background to talk shit to the gang stalkers, to minimize the gang stalker from talking shit to the TI. Does that make any sense? So these different items are like very important to a TI. And that's why I try to emphasize it to the community, try to let you know you need to have audio playing in the background. I have mine. When they frustrate me, especially when I'm working, they'll still do it once in a while. I'll just play my audio on low volume, just saying fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you on repeat. Like I'll record myself saying fuck you. I'll use VLC and play it on loop, low volume, where I can't even hear it myself, and the phone be in my pocket. But they can hear it. They can hear it. They definitely can hear it, because your phone is a battery source, an energy source for these entities, for the gang stalkers. They absorb energy from your cell phone. It's a battery device for them. So when a TI don't have those items and they're just getting attacked every day, yeah, they're stuck negatively. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, especially when you don't live where I live with no neighbors. You have neighbors around. Oh man, now you're going to add on more of that frustration, because you're going to constantly think it's your neighbors, and you don't living there. You don't like going outside because you don't want to see anyone. You feel like everyone's watching you, right? Even though they're not. But the dumpster stain gang stalkers will like to make you believe that, because you go outside, you look in a direction, and you see one of your neighbors just so happen to be look back at you just to see, who you are, because they also, or, they want to be cautious. They don't know who you are, right? It's normal for them to just look at you, but then you look at them, they look at you. Your dumpster stain gang stalker will send you an idea that, oh, they're already outside spying on you. Like, that's all it takes. And that sucks. And so it's very fortunate for me to not live in those situations. So that allowed me to practically eliminate that whole situation. I prevented them from using that against me, because I have no neighbors for them to use against me. You see, it's actually their advantage to use against me. But now, since I know what I know, if I was living in an apartment complex, I would already know that they are not gang stalkers, but the possibility is not even possibility. I already know that they can make my neighbors think I am a gang stalker. You see that? Just like how the TI community, how the TIs believe other TIs are perps because you're being manipulated by your dumpster stain gang stalkers to believe that person, the other person, is a gang stalkers. So if I was to live in an apartment complex, knowing what I know now, no fear mentality, and who these gang stalkers are, I have no problem living there. But I already know my neighbors, the ones that, for whatever reason, might think that I am possibly, like a new person in the area. If they're going through what they're going through, kind of like a TI, their dumpster stain gang stalkers will make them think that I am a gang stalker, that I would just put in here to spy on that person, to spy on him or her. Does that make any sense? So what I would do to do my countermeasure is I would try to smile, be friendly, strike up friendly conversation, just be very friendly, and that's about it. That's all I can do. And they are on their own battle. I mean, the gang stalkers can make people around you think a certain way and remember a certain trigger memories of you. So if you're in a relationship, you cheated on your partner, you do your best to try uh, to to fix it, to make them trust you again, and you put in all the hard work, but your partner is still having those moments where they just have their like breakout, like complete just emotional episode, of just remembering the moment when they found out that, oh, you cheated or whatever. Well, that's because the dumpster stain gang stalkers, your partner, that thought, the memory triggering the day that you cheated on your partner. So now your partner start falling victim into that thought, and next thing you know, your partner is thinking about it for 10, 15 minutes, and now your partner is pissed off at you again. And that's how that whole cycle keep happening in relationship. So it's also important for your partner, when you try to fix the relationship after your partner found out that you cheated, the two of you need to really come to terms with a solution, especially a solution within your partner's mind. Your partner's got to put in the work. If your partner decides to accept your apology and acknowledge your wrongdo, you trying to help save the relationship, and you really are making a change and commitment to saving the relationship, your partner needs to come to term with it, with his or her own mind, and have a solution, and be forgiving of what happened, that finding out that you cheated. If your partner don't do that, that is actually a negative memory that is stuck in your partner's mind, and the dumpster stain gang stalkers can make your partner think about it anytime those dumpster stain gang stalkers want. Your partners could be washing dishes, and out of nowhere a thought will come in and remind your partner the moment that he or she found out that you cheated on him or her. Unless your partner can come to peace with that memory within his or her own head. So that's really these dumpster stain gang stalkers can do. So if you have arguments with your neighbors and you don't try to make peace with it, from that moment on, the dumpster stain gang stalkers can use that to their advantage and make your neighbor believe whatever's not working for him or her is caused by you, because of the previous fallout, and you guys never made peace with that situation. And over time, it can get built up into a lot more of negative thoughts and ideas against each other. Does that make sense? Warlock witchcraft using sellout. I can just tell there's absolutely good-hearted TIs. You should give me a wrench. No wrench for you, evil man. As a targeted individual, do you feel that documenting evidence is effortless given the frequency, intensity, and repetition of the harassment tactics used against us. Uh, well, there is no evidence to document because no one has figured this out. I'm the only one that knows what these gang stalkers are. And I already made video that's scheduled to be released this year to reveal who they are. So at this very moment, no one knows who they are, and all their documentation are just, they're not real evidence. And when I show the video of who they are, it's my theory, but it's a very solid one. And I will convince a lot of TIs. I'm going to show why TIs are special. And of course, like I'm going to use historical texts, uh, historical photos, modern day photos, videos, uh, things from the Bible, National Geographic, all these different publications and these different resources. I'm going to put them together. So it's not just like me talking about a few photos or whatever, and their photos of whatever. And I'm also going to include my own personal documentation of these entities, so I can show the TI community this is going on really close to me. And I also have already been accumulating data information of other TIs from their videos. I can show that even these other content creators, these other TIs out there, it's close to them as well. Spend his own money to help. He mocks TIs and has nothing resembling targeting going on in his life. Color harassment, sensitization, one headlight vehicles, vandalism, noise campaign. Yes or no? I mean, if you want to believe in all those, then absolutely yes. But what's the cost of them? The cost from your dumpster stain gang stalkers through lower voice to skull. And you're perfect, Herbert. See how they are? See, everyone is so intent on being a Judas. It's I'm not perfect, but I'm not a perp. Neither is Will, or Scott, or Virginia, or me. Will has nothing in his life to indicate that he's targeted, no directed energy or anything. Angels Don't Fall is real one. I see your video, bro. Keep it up. Any real targeted individual would agree that if you're truly being gang stalked, it is absolutely effortless to show proof, as the covert harassment tactics used against us are negative and frequent. Now, if they're just lower voice to skull making you believe that it's what's happening, it really is. Because here's the bottom line. For people that are not going through this and they want to research into this, okay, their perspective of TIs are just imaginary being harassed and stalked, okay? That's how they see it. But for the TI, of course, the TI knows something's going on, okay? And that's true. Something is going on. Now, the outside person thinking the TI it's crazy and it's imagining all these things, that outside person have yet to realize something is going on. Okay, so that's how it works. That person do not realize something is going on. The TI realize something is going on, but the TI believe what's going on comes from the lower voice to skull. Does that make sense? And the lower voice to skull is making the TI believe that all these negative things that the TI believe in are his or her own thoughts. When his or her own thoughts. Because put it this way, a TI, when you see a person, okay, for me, when I see people, I don't think of anything. I don't think of anything negative. I don't think of anything. I'll probably just glance at them. I kind of just look at them, know they're there at that area or in that direction. I'll mind my own business. I don't think of anything. But for a TI that's a victim to lower voice to skull and or in fear of gang stalking and gang stalkers and or confused of what's going on, when that TI see a person, the lower voice to skull will send that TI negative thoughts that are relate to whatever the TI was just most recently experienced. So if the TI is believing, going through one of those breakdowns, like emotional breakdown, kind of like state of trance, where just believing that was pissed off, believing that people at the gas station were just gang stalking him. So now that TI left the gas station, but still kind of hot headed. If the TI left the gas station and saw a person at a pump, okay, a different pump, kind of like looking towards the direction of the TI, even though that person wasn't even looking at the TI, that person was, the head was in that direction, but wasn't looking at the TI, or even that person could just be daydreaming, got the head turned that way, but not focusing on the TI, but just daydreaming, kind of dozing off, daydreaming. But the TI is looking that way and believe that person is part of the gang stalking. That person's a perp looking at the TI. The TI only thinks that way is because the lower voice of skull send that thought into TI's mind. Because the TI's mind is already in a state of trance. In the state of trance, that TI was already frustrated and pissed off from whatever happened 5 minutes ago inside the gas station. You see how it builds up like that. So when situation like that happen, the gang stalkers will use it to its advantage, especially when the TI have no awareness that it's these thoughts, these negative thoughts are not his or her. It's been buying into all these negative thoughts, believing it's his or her. Well, then you're being controlled by the gang stalkers. That's what mind controls are. You're not fully being controlled, but you're manipulated to a point where you're practically doing whatever they suggest to you. And you believe what they suggest to you. And over time, you will lose critical thinking skills. Because those critical thinking skills requires practice. Just because you understand it 10 years ago and you got an A in all those courses in college doesn't mean you're going to be good at it for the rest of your life, because you still need practice. And over time, you're going to forget about critical thinking if you just start believing in all these negative thoughts that comes in. And that's what these gang stalkers, these dumpster stain gang stalkers are doing. They're making the TIs. The TIs are aware, that's great. But up to that point, they bought into all the fear, and the fear, it's mental fear. You have no home court advantage. Like I've been telling you, you understand no fear mentality, you have home court advantage inside your mind. So you don't have home court advantage. Your mind is just, they're controlling it. They're manipulating it. And they put you in fear, and you've been in fear for a long time. Some TIs, 10, 20 years, and still stuck on thinking the same thing as the government, but there's no solutions. And they don't have the critical thinking skills to go beyond the government, to start putting the energy into sitting down and reading other TIs' posts and testimonial, and actually thinking outside the box. Maybe these TI talking about the stuff that's not familiar to that other TI. Well, maybe it's time to start really thinking more into it, or try to find out more about it, and maybe make some new connection, new dots, and trigger new ideas and new ways to overcoming their situation. But I'll tell you what, those TIs after 20 years, they already lost their will. Like they have no energy of their willpower. They have no way of doing it. They just complain, and talk trash and stay on course, because that's 20 years of manipulation the dumpster stain gang stalker's been doing to that TI. And that TI did not resist those negative thoughts that came into the TI's mind, and it just bought into it. And that's how that whole shapes the personality of that TI over time. It becomes this very grumpy person, a person that likes to talk shit behind someone's back, complain about all these things when it doesn't go well, and just very negative in his view of this world. Like talk about conspiracy all the time, and completely forgotten his or her own existence in a way because of state of trance. Like the mind is mentally in a state of trance. It no longer think about planning for a future because I'm a victim of that. Okay. At one point, I even asked myself many times, that's now I know it comes from the good spirits, the good entities, because they're the trigger me to remember, made me wonder to myself, how come I don't think about my 5 year plan? What am I going to do 5 years from now? What am I going to do years from now? Right? What am I going to be 10 years from now? See, those are very important questions to ask yourself if you're a TI. And I already know your game stalkers have made you forgotten about those things. Do you have a 5 year plan? Where are you going to be 5 years from now? Where are you going to be 3 months from now? What do you want done 3 months from now? Because if you want to do something in a project and you set a deadline for 3 months, you can get it done. But are you going to do it? But does your dumpster stain gang stalkers have gotten you into a state of trance and making you live in fear where you completely just live day by day and you've forgotten about anything important? You give up on your credit, okay? Because I know I can comfortably say the TIs in the TI community, a lot of them have bad credit. I can say that because I went through that. It's almost like a path. We kind of all went through similar path. I completely just gave up on caring about paying bills and my credit. And I know based on my research and after all these last 2 years of making videos and watching other people's videos, I already know that I'm comfortable and say that TIs are bad credits because we all gave up. We went through that phase where we gave up on caring about that stuff. But is it too late? No, you can rebuild your credit. I did. It took years, but you just got to start some point. You have to start at some point. And that's where that whole idea of asking yourself, what am I going to be 2 years from now? What am I going to be 5 years from now? You're going to have a game plan. You don't have a game plan. I mean, if you're lucky, you could probably live in one of those out in the wilderness, by yourself and probably don't want to talk to anyone and just constantly think the government's after you. And for the less fortunate, will probably be homeless. There's a lot of homeless TIs, and you see them shouting out, out on that's because what they're shouting at the dumpster stain gang stalkers. Because you ever seen homeless people shouting out things? Like, who are they talking to? Well, I know who they're talking to. They're talking to their dumpster stain gang stalkers. And they've been doing that. They've been receiving voice to skull for, who knows, 30, 20, 40 years. But they never understood what it is. And through misfortune, they'll go to a doctor, and the doctor will probably just don't know anything because they have no experience. They're just a textbook doctor based on whatever somebody else wrote about when that somebody else that wrote it have no experience. They have no direct experience. But for sure is they won't take in the testimonial of the patient. When the patient tells them something's going on, those doctors, they don't want to believe it because they're not experiencing it. They're not true TIs. They're unaware. If you want to talk about puppets, well, I don't want to call them puppets, but I mean, think about it. They're unaware of this situation. They do not understand when the TI is receiving voice to skull, explaining what's going on. So they technically have no good advice other than prescribe pills, medication that just numbs that part of your mind. That's all it does. If anything, it damages you physically, right? It's like it's some part of your brain to prevent that hearing these voices or prevent you from getting aggressive. So it's not curing you at all. It's pop a pill and numb you, right? Destroying a part of your brain or whatever you're destroying. Or the better solution is to give like counseling, like talk it through, But that will require a good counselor, a good psychiatrist that can really talk and understand and can explain things and be convincing. And those are rare. Most of them are just shitty. They barely pass and they're really bad. Okay, like I've been to relationship counseling in the past, and I'll tell you, I went to a handful, and they were all just equally bad. equally bad based on experience because they'll just sit there and listen to you. They'll take notes, but they don't offer solutions. You see, they'll listen, they'll take notes, they don't offer solutions. And there are a lot of them out there like that. A lot. So for those homeless TIs, after 20 years of receiving voice to skull and being misfortunate of being diagnosed by doctors with no understanding of what's going on or getting into trouble with the law, that's what led them to becoming homeless. I always, I kind of want to talk to one of them and ask them, who are you talking to? And I want to know if they can actually still recognize, or maybe I'll be curious to know what they have to say. Maybe they'll say things like, oh, the government's attacking me. I mean, that would be very interesting. So having a conversation with those homeless people that are yelling, screaming at the top of their lungs, they are TIs. Those are true TIs, but true TIs that have just lost themselves. All right. So next time you see a homeless person on the street shouting, just know that person is a true TI just like you. But just unfortunate, and for whatever events that happen in his or her life, him or her living on the street. And you know this for a fact. How do you know all this? I don't know. I don't know exactly which part of the video, so I don't know what I was saying during that time when you commented. Interesting how none of you have any of this evidence. April, okay, just April's the month. April of 2023 is the month. He admitted, I used to watch before I got sick to my stomach watching him mock other TIs. Oh, I don't know who you're referring to, me or somebody else. I don't know. These people spend up to 20 hours a day screwing around with everyone's live stream and using fake accounts with no videos. Yeah. And it's interesting how they don't want to be over the top to cause them to be banned from the channel, you know? So they kind of just do it very subtle and kind of talk about different topics or try to be distracting with their comment. But I give them benefit of the doubt. I mean, I don't know who they are. I really don't. And I don't want to think about it too much. Donovan accuses others of what he does. I don't know what that means. No videos. Don't hate, hater. See, yeah, these are, I don't get these comments. It's like they're having their own conversation and I'm just reading it. I'm just gonna actually select the more relevant ones. Eternity for your cowardly, covert, um, rigorous violations of basic human rights. Tony, I got $100 for you to leave. Oh, this is interesting. It says, Donovan, I got some holy water and a Bible. Be gone, demon. Now, this is interesting to me because one thing based on my experience, I know is these entities don't work well with water. So just water, okay? So does it need to be blessed? I don't believe it needs to be blessed. It's just water and these entities, they don't mix together. They don't mix well, okay? So there you go. I will explain why in my video. Well, it looks like there's no more legitimate questions. Um, yeah, well, it looks like I will be ending this live stream. Hi. Let's see here. There's really no question. Just a bunch of people going back and forth, hating on other content creator or talking hate on each other. Yeah. All right, everybody. I don't know what else to talk about now because there's really no questions. Um, well, maybe I can show you guys a very good video. Give me a second. I'm going to show you guys this video, okay? It's about 30 minutes long. If you want to watch it, you can, but otherwise, you don't have to. And it's for the, I would say it's more for the advanced TIs. So give me a few minutes. I'm going to set it up. Give me 5 minutes, okay? I'm going to take a 5-minute break, but I will set it up. Oh, one more thing. Before I set that up, I want to show you this 1-minute video, okay? And here we go. So, for those of you that don't understand what I just show you, it's fine. It's something that I don't want to really get too deep into detail, but that was a recording. Okay, that was supposedly the very first recording ever by recording. Okay, that first recording device, and the inventor sang a Claire de la Lune. It's a famous song, I guess, and the recorder picked up the recording. Now, only recently that they were able to, within the last 10 years, they were able to fix it where it brings out the natural voice of the inventor. So what you just heard, that was not the voice of the inventor. That was a different voice that was recorded. Only within the last 10 years, they were able to remaster it and somehow extract real voice of the inventor. And that voice sounds like a older man, not like the voice that I just played in that video. So who was that voice in that video that I just played for you? So for those of you that want to actually look into that, that's a good little assignment for you to look into. That's all I have to say about it for now. So I'm going to set up the other video. Okay, everybody, I'm back. So I will show you this video. Okay, it's about 30 minutes long. If you want to watch it, that's fine. But it's for the more advanced TIs out there. And I have a few, uh, well, I guess mentors or people I would consider I can learn from. And this is